Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be looking at the parenteral nutrition products. Previously I made a video on the enteral nutrition products. It's not going to be a very long video. I'm going to go through the categories with you and then we are going to look at the Excel spreadsheet. Okay, so we now have our categories of bags that we're going to split our products into. So those that have glutamine and those without glutamine. So we know that glutamine is a conditionally essential amino acid, meaning that it is required in, I want to say, it should be supplemented in specific disease conditions, for example, such as burns, trauma, etc. But it is contraindicated in other disease conditions like sepsis, for example, right? So make sure that you confirm your patient's diagnosis and choose the correct bag because you don't want to cause any issues, right? So glutamine, for example, in your Fresenius Kabi bags, your ITN bags, it will pop up as dipeptidyl under the description of the bag. So you can identify it that way in terms of your categorizing it. I'm sure other product detailers will also indicate whether their bags have glutamine inside or not, supplemental glutamine inside or not. So just be sure to split the products into these categories. Basically, you could also, split it into other categories if you'd like to, but this is it's easier to work with. And then also we have the all-in-one bags versus the three-chamber bags. So all-in-one bags contain your macronutrients as well as your micronutrients. These are generally kept in the fridge, right, in your hospitals. They store it in the fridge. So yeah, you don't really need to supplement with additional micronutrients. For example, with your three-chamber bags, they only contain your macronutrients, so then in this case you might need to supplement with your micronutrient products, your IV micronutrient products such as Sonovit, for example. So yeah, let's get into our Excel spreadsheet and then I'm going to show you all the different elements that you need to add to your product file. Okay, so now we are looking at the Excel spreadsheet. The analysis is per 100 mils. This is for adult parenteral nutrition feeds. In our first column, we have the name of the bag or the product, and I've obviously indicated the category. So with glutamine and without glutamine, right? I've also indicated the company's name for each product. So I started with Fresenius Kabi and then moved over to the rest of the companies. So this is quite important, especially when you are ordering your bags, to make sure that you indicate the correct number because the bags go by, for example, ITN, right, with Fresenius Kabi and a specific number. So in this case, it's 8801A. A means with electrolytes, and then it says that it's also available without electrolytes. So again, depending on your patient condition, etc., you can order accordingly. And then it's also good to indicate whether it contains SMOF lipids or not. SMOF stands for soybean, MCT oils, olive oil, and fish oil. It's a synergy of, basically it's a lipid emulsion, right? It's a synergy of the different lipid sources. And then I've indicated the age for use, for example, older than 12 years old. It is important to indicate whether it's a peripheral or central line, depending on whether your patient has a central or peripheral line, and then you would choose your bag accordingly. Whether it's on the RT9 tender, the volume of the bag, important as well, especially when calculating your patient's requirements, etc., and how much you're going to run it per hour, whatever it is. And then your protein, carbs, and lipids. So under your protein, we've subdivided it into the nitrogen, amino acids, and glutamine. Because when we calculate parenteral nutrition, we take into consideration the nitrogen and the amino acids as well. So with conversion factors, etc., you would get to your protein requirements, right? So all of this information is on your parenteral nutrition charts or the detailers that the companies has given you. So you can get all of the information from there. So this category is with glutamine. So we've added in the glutamine. With carbs, there's dextrose and glucose. So you indicate the amounts accordingly again. And then, okay, and then we have our lipids and the energy. So non-protein energy and your total energy. Again, important for calculations, etc. in terms of the requirements, all of that. So it's quite useful to have your non-protein energy and your total energy basically. And then that's in kilocalories. Then we have our electrolytes and osmolarity. Okay, that's kind of cut off, as well as additional information. So how much is it per bag or per unit, etc. There's not much information that we do add in this column. It's just the price. So as we go along, not all bags are available without electrolytes. So that's why it's important to indicate. Okay, so some bags are simply just available without electrolytes. For example, the 8804 bag and the 8809. So XA will indicate and will tell you that it is a bag without electrolytes and it's not available with electrolytes, right? We also notice that some bags are both central and peripheral. Okay, so we can use it either centrally and peripherally. If the patient has, for example, a peripheral line, then you can use that. Okay. Then without glutamine, again, you indicate all of the bags and the values accordingly, right? So with the B. Braun bags, for example, the Baxter bags, I've indicated the type of lipid it uses. So MCT oils in the case of B. Braun, or with the Triomel bags, I've indicated the the lipid sources, so olive oil, soybean oil, things like that. It is important information. It helps you make your choices and feed selection. It's important for feed selection. There we go. And then the additives. So these are things that are basically added to not an all-in-one bag, I would say. So those bags that don't contain micronutrients. Okay, so the bags that don't contain micronutrients generally are those that can be kept like, not that don't have to be kept in the fridge, right? So, or you want something that's okay. So now we come to the additives sheet. So I have one here for example, all of your extra things. So your micronutrient vials, your protein, you added protein supplements, for example, you added glutamine vials, things like that. There you want to add extra glutamine. Say, for example, you have a burns patient, so you want extra glutamine, you can recommend this as well. So I've indicated again the product name, any specific details that you need to add. For example, it's in 100 ml vial, etc. Can you use it in a peripheral or central line? I've indicated that. What does it contain? So the source, so I've indicated here all like the amino acids, the specific ones that is detailed on the product sheet that the companies give you, the amounts as well, osmolarity. It is important. So this analysis is per vial or per unit that it comes in. So under the protein category, it's all of the amino acid products, glutamine, etc. And then things of interest, for example, this one has branched chain amino acids. It's, when I look at branched chain amino acids, I think about liver disease conditions. Okay. And then we have micronutrients. So, for example, add a trace, all of your trace elements, it's in the name, right? And then you indicate all of your trace elements that it does contain. It's always very important to do this so you see whether you've met your requirements, etc., all of that. Some might not have this information, then obviously you're not able to add that in. But if they do have this information, please try and ask them for the information. It will be really helpful to you and valuable, especially when you at bedside with patient, etc. Okay, then your vitamins. So you have your fat soluble vitamins in a specific vial, your water soluble vitamins. You have one that's mixed that contains both fat soluble as well as water soluble vitamins. You add all of them in as well as the amounts. So for example, Vitalipid, fat soluble, Soluvit, water soluble. Synovit contains both fat soluble and water soluble vitamins. Then I also have a section for lipids. So the SMOF lipid emulsion with the different percentages, the amounts, etc. Okay, always very important. It's always nice to just go back and look to see which product would be, useful for my patient or beneficial for my patient. I also included the dipeptidyl dosage chart. I think this might be an extra. I don't think I think it's really good to have just to guide you in terms of your calculations, etc. It contains the body weight, the minimum, the maximum, etc. So it really helps you calculate this. Again, this is available on the product detailer from the company, so you can get it from there as well. I hope this was useful, and yeah, let me know if you have any questions or if you have any video ideas that you would like me to do. Thank you.